Yasmina Talks. Welcome to our next video. In this one, we're going to look at creating descriptive text for links. Again, pretty easy thing to do, but it's often overlooked, but it can make a big difference when it comes to accessibility. You see here we have some of the guidelines in WCAG that this references and talks about. So what do we mean when we're talking about links and descriptive link text? The biggest thing is we need to make sure that the text we put on the screen is descriptive in what that link is going to open. So for example, read the syllabus, and we would be able to click on the syllabus versus click here. Click here tells us nothing other than it's going to open something. And we don't want there to be surprises. Again, you got to think about this from the standpoint of somebody maybe using a screen reader where it just says click here and I have no idea why. And now I'm clicking again, which might already be a difficult process for me to complete anyways, and it maybe just opens up a resource that I didn't need in the moment. So the more description I can give, it will help the end user navigate the course more effectively. So again, when that screen reader gets that link, when it just says click here, the screen reader can't tell where it goes, the user can't tell where it goes, so it makes it very difficult to figure out. Also, I don't know if it opens a website, does it open a Word doc, does it open a PDF? So it leaves a lot to be desired. Also, the screen reader will recognize a link, so we don't need to say click on this link, because the screen reader is already going to know that it's a link and announce that there's a link available. We just need to add the description as to what that link is. From a usability and consistency standpoint, obviously, when we have links clearly marked and they are underlined and usually in a different color, it just helps everybody to be able to scan the course, even if I don't have accessibility issues. And if we do them all the same way, it keeps everything looking clean and professional. Nothing looks worse than when you're scrolling through and you see somebody paste, the HTTPS www. And they paste the actual URL right in the page, and there's a whole bunch of random characters, or it takes up 2 lines. We want things to look nice as well, because that helps them be easier to use. So you see example here. The correct way would be for course policies, review the link LMC Student Code of Conduct. It's going to announce, link to LMC Student Code of Conduct, and then we noted that it's a PDF at the end, so they know what they're opening. Versus to learn more about our policies, click here. Does that take us to the policies? You would assume so, but that's not always the case. Sometimes people think, oh, that's okay because I say policies and then click here. But we want to make sure that the link is actually on the policies part. Is where you update that one. Obviously, being more descriptive in what policies you're talking about for the descriptive text for the link is better. But even using policies over just click here would be a much improved option. Pretty straightforward. Obviously, we don't want to use click here, but if we wanted to link to the college website, we would just highlight the text that we wanted to input, and we would come up to the link option in the icon bar. And if we're going external, we click there, and we just type in the link to the website. Click on done. Alternatively, we can just go up and click on external link, and then we could put what text we want to have in there, and then add our address and go about doing it that way. So pretty straightforward there. Another example to consider is that it's possible that we might use the same link, or might have a link, and depending on our context, it might shape our descriptive text a little bit. So in the first example you see, we're talking about designing an inclusive course. We're going to link to the W3C Accessibility Initiative. We might just state that, but the text surrounding it might be a little bit different versus if we're looking at this from purely a legal standpoint, to understand how it ties into the ADA compliance, look at the standards that support the regulations. So both of those could potentially link to the exact same place, but the descriptive text that we use could be a little bit different because it should fit into what we're doing. Our do's and don'ts: make sure we're using clear, specific link text that describes the destination or purpose. Make sure they indicate any file formats that might be opened or downloaded. Keep it short and meaningful, and then make sure that it stands out. Most programs will automatically change the font and place an underline But it is something to be mindful of because maybe you went back through and highlighted a whole entire page and changed the font color. Well, that might have changed the link as well. So something just to keep in the back of your mind. Obviously, we don't want to use things like click here more this as our link text. We want to make sure it's descriptive. We don't want to do entire sentences either. We want to make sure that we're just getting the important piece of the sentence that we want to link. Putting in the raw URLs, https://www dot. You put that stuff in there, screen readers will read the entire thing, which could be super annoying. And make sure that we're using something besides just color. Color's good, but again, you got to think about it from an accessibility standpoint. If I'm colorblind, I might not realize that that's a link because I might not see the color in the same way as somebody else. So having that two-part process of an underline and color can be extremely useful.